So here I was, stumbling around on YouTube like you do, and I ran into this. And me being who I am, I figured, well hell, I can't miss out on this. Let's see what it's about. I started watching the video, and out of curiosity, I checked the description, and I seen this. And I thought to myself, holy shit, I'm gonna do a video, we're gonna have a discussion. I'm not just gonna mock the person the whole time. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fantastic. So we're skipping the intro and going right in.
Hello, I am filming another video for you. This one is not going to be a story time video.
Ah, but I like stories. Ah, well, I'm gonna skip some of this beginning part for the sake of time.
I would consider myself to be a feminist. That's a fun fact. I feel like I say this in every single video, but fun fact number one, I'm a feminist.
Alright, so I've already watched your video, and I think that you may have been just a little misinformed. I know that being a feminist is always portrayed as the thing that you want to be, but I'm hoping that I can shed a little bit of light and change your mind.
A few years back, I would say that I wouldn't have considered myself to be a feminist. That was probably due to the fact that feminism in itself had some really negative connotations in my head.
See, feminism has a lot of negative connotations in my head, but probably for different reasons. I found the majority of feminists pushing a female agenda, most prominently under the guise of false statistics and information. I find most to just be intellectually dishonest with their information that they have, and not really open to debate it or discuss it. This is very apparent when they're talking about the wage gap or they want to go into rape culture. They're not open or receptive to any information that goes against their narrative.
Because all I sort of heard about, or all the impressions I got from other people who had briefly mentioned it, had been really negative, and that everyone who considered themselves to be a feminist was crazy. And even now, sometimes I get a little shy when I mention that I am to people or whatever. I'm not one of those people who's like, I'm a vegan, but instead like, I'm a feminist.
See, and this is why I'm open to having a discussion with you. You don't seem to be one of the more radical feminists. You're not screaming racist or sexist or blaming all of your problems on the imaginary patriarchy. Seriously, go check out some of my other videos. And if you do, be aware that I am actually an asshole.
But you know, like if someone was to ask me if I was, I would say yes, I am.
Now, from what I've noticed, some of the more extreme feminists will jump your ass if you tell them that you're not a feminist. They'll start with the whole, well, you believe in equality, right? You believe that men and women should be treated equally. Well, guess what? You're a feminist. But I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, that's bullshit. I'm what you would call an egalitarian. I believe that anyone who actually stands for equality should be one. If you take nothing else from this video and what I'm saying, I just ask you to consider using this word and identifying with it rather than a feminist. Since the word egalitarian isn't focused and centered around the female, and it hasn't developed a cult-like following, kind of like feminism has, I think it's best to stay away from the terms feminist and feminism, at the very least until all the craziness and crazy people get sorted out of it.
The thing with feminism that I think creates a lot of controversy across the globe, and it has been for years and years and years, is that where do the boundaries go for feminism? Where is the line? Where is the line?
See, and that's a great point that you've brought up. There are a lot of contradictions between feminist to feminist. It seems to just evolve or devolve depending on the person's individual needs and whatever suits them at the time. Usually on YouTube, you find feminists trying to define what a true feminist is. And really, they're just diving as deep as they can into the no true Scotsman fallacy.
Where is the line? I find it really difficult because I'm at this time in my life where I like to dress up and feel sexy and feel really good about my body and stuff like that. But some people wouldn't consider that to be feminism because they think I'm sexualizing myself for guys, which in a way I am.
Yeah, see, that's what I never got. Most feminists find other people sexualizing them to be wrong, even though it's inherent in our bodies and minds. It's just wired biologically.
I was talking to this guy the other day. He was sort of a mutual friend. I had just met him that night, so honestly, he didn't give the best impression. But we were talking, and I'd sort of said, oh, yeah, because I'm a feminist, we're just chatting. And that was sweet, like he didn't have anything against it. And then later on in the conversation, I talked about, we were talking about flirting with, you know, the opposite sex or whoever you're interested in, and I was saying how I like to dress up for guys and I like to feel pretty and that makes me a lot more confident with guys and blah blah blah. He was like, well then you're not a feminist then. And I was thinking, like, why doesn't that make me a feminist?
You see, one of the more fundamental factors that have always seemed to follow along with feminism is that a woman should always be independent of men. A lot of them like to perpetuate the idea that they don't need to dress up and look good for a man. See, and this is also why feminism has become synonymous with man-hating. They dehumanize men like they're not worthy of anything. They're not worthy of female attention. I hope that you're beginning to see the primary flaw with feminism. It's a rabbit hole that goes as deep as you want it to. It's not just, equality between the sexes. No, it's formed into an entire ideology. Most people compare it to a religion now.
There's this really weird line I find with feminism that is quite a debated topic, which is the line between being a feminist and objectifying yourself. But being sexual and wanting to seem sexy tends to be viewed on as objectifying yourself.
That right there. Who the hell is anyone to tell you what you can and cannot think about yourself, or hell, even other people for that matter? You are entitled to your own thoughts and opinions of yourself and everyone else around you. There's not a damn thing in the world that anybody else can or should be able to do about it.
But if you're completely aware of the fact that you are trying to look pretty, is that objectifying yourself? This always confuses me. It's the same with catcalling. I get it. I get the whole not wanting to be whistled at. That completely, I completely agree with that.
Now, here's where we might differ a little bit. Let me know. Now, personally, I can see how somebody yelling at you, no matter what it is, from across the street could come off as rude or annoying. But I ultimately defend their right to do so under the name of free speech.
But sometimes the reasoning I hear against catcalling sounds like people don't even want guys to come up and flirt with them.
Yeah, there are women and feminists who are like that. Look up Rebecca Watson and her elevator incident.
Or girls. But how are you going to find a partner without taking some risks sometimes and going and flirting with people? I get that a lot of the reason why it's not regarded as good is because people don't realise there's a line of like when you're just being fucking annoying. I wouldn't say I want to get whistled at the street, but if a guy came up to me on the street and told me he thought I was pretty, I would be pretty happy.
Yes, that confused look is the same one that men get when feminists tell them not to give them compliments.
A guy did do that once, and I felt freaking great. Is that a bad thing? This is why I'm filming this video, because I'm just so confused by that sort of thing.
And this is the reason why I bothered making a video to respond to you. You seem to have some common sense, and you're willing to question it.
Is me being happy with guys appreciating my body mean that I'm not a feminist?
Some feminists would say yes, some would say no. Personally, I think it's healthy and natural. And the fact that you have to question yourself, me being this way, am I still allowed in the club or not, should raise up a red flag, and I kind of believe it did.
Leave a comment down below if you are equally as confused or if you have an opinion on that, because it has been running through my mind recently.
And here we are at the end. Now let me just go ahead and say how refreshing and amazing it is to see somebody with the feminist movement willing to question it. So here's my final thoughts and personal message to you. Please, continue to be skeptic of the feminist movement. Do your own research. While the face value of feminism seems and sounds like a good idea, its practice by people with this group in society is mostly negative. Even when you break down the word to its definition, it's still the advocacy for women's rights. I believe that a focus should be paid to everyone and every person at all times. No one particular group should get more focus and attention than any other, even if they do need it, because you may weigh the balance too far in one direction and not notice it. If you believe that every person should be equal on the sole basis of them being human, that they should have the equality of opportunity, I suggest and I implore you to identify and look into egalitarianism. But don't just take my word for it or anybody else's word for it. Decide what is best and makes the most sense to you. Just question it and look into it for yourself. Don't go based off of what other people tell you. I can tell you what I would like and what I think's right all day long, but ultimately you have to decide that for yourself. So to summarize, do I believe that you are a true feminist? No, I don't. I believe that you have a healthier view and a more open mind than almost every feminist I've encountered. Well, I think I've said all that I can say. Until next time, everyone, keep up the fight against stupidity wherever you may find it. Have a great day.